Hello everyone and welcome back to Of Bricks and Dragons. Okay, so today we're going to try and do a ship-to-ship combat. I tried doing this once before, I messed up horribly, so here we are on at least take two. Okay, but here we go. Alright, so we have a Peregrine fighter, which is going to be represented by our shuttlecraft, and we have a Tajol class fighter for the Klingons, which is represented by our bird of prey. Now I have the starter rules here, so I can go through this. It's spelt out a little bit better in the starter rules than it is in the actual game book itself. I was kind of getting frustrated, and I was doing things kind of messed up, and it just went bad. So we're going to try this over again. We're going to try and go off the rules a little bit better, going off the starter rules, which does explain it a little bit better than what the core book did. And I have heard that if you use the Klingon core book, that explains things a lot better, because they kind of revised some of the rules and how they were done. So with that being what it is, we're going to try and get into this. Now, I'm going to have a base NPC in here, so it's just going to be an 8 and a 0, so whatever it is that needs from any rolls or skills from the character itself that's piloting our Klingon is just going to be a base 8 with a 0 skill added. Our character, I do have a character I had created. This is not my main character, this is one I created for doing our role-playing game here, as one of the support characters or whatever. So I have a human security officer, and we're trying to get through this. Now, some of the things I was messing up on before, I will try and hopefully do correctly this time. Grab a drink, some popcorn, or whatever you prefer to chew on. If you're just listening to this, if you're watching me fumble through this, please bear with me as best you can. We'll get through this, and if I'm really getting lost and I feel that bad, I'll stop, and it'll be take 15 or whatever it is. We'll get this through, and I want to do this correctly so you have an understanding and I can get it knocked into my little noggin myself as to how to properly do this. Now, we have size 2 ships, or scale 2 ships, which with that scale, it says that's how many things you can do per turn. Now, I was kind of flipped up on that a little bit before, especially when it comes to power and that. Trying to go off of how we had done this last week with our live-action roleplay coming out of the Star Trek Adventures starter set. I want to really just get through this. That's why I grabbed 2 small ships, and just going through here. Now we have 2 people in this one person in this one. I'm not working it as 2 people, just one-on-one, trying to keep it as very simple, as very bare bones as we can do this, and that's what I'm trying to do. Now, in one of the rules, and this is for the hand-to-hand one, it says that if whatever you have in your security actually increases the damage of your weapon. Now, I don't know if that actually pertains to ship-to-ship combat. In this instance, I'm going to say it does. Okay. Now, I'm going against a base character compared to mine, so I have a security of 4. Okay, so this is just one of the characters I was trying to come up with before. I was like, well, if I'm going to have like 40 or however many characters, I don't want to make up 40 different character sheets. Especially knowing how bad I normally roll for combat. I might have a character that only makes it for 1 episode, and then they're gone, and I'll have to keep making up more character sheets. So, trying to get through some of that. Here we are. I do have a control of 10, security of 14. That's typically what I'm going to be using here with my ship. For combat, I will have a... I saw it here, and I'm trying to make sure I'm going through this correctly. So, I want to read this off again. Just to make sure I'm doing this correctly, and I will write this down for ship-to-ship combat because I really want to have this right. And I'm kind of getting a little frustrated because I feel like I'm just messing everything up. So I really just I want to get this right so everyone understands this as well as myself understanding this. So when you're watching me do this, and if I come up with ideas that resonate for you and your game, you're getting this correctly. And I just had this and now I can't find it as always. I don't know why I always do this to myself. I'll look for things and then I just can't seem to find. For ranged attack, the attacker attempts a control and security, the difficulty of 2. This is not an opposed task. The difficulty is increased by 1 if the enemy is within reach. If there is an enemy within reach of the attacker. Okay, that is not it. There's also momentum, which I wasn't getting at first, but I do start understanding a little bit. To me, it seems a little convoluted, but it's their system. I'm not trying to knock it. They've obviously play tested it many times. I'm just an old person trying to work my way through it. And if I can get this to make sense in my thick skull, hopefully for someone that's listening to this and have an easier time trying to do this, someone that's not so stuck in their ways with some older role-playing games, this should hopefully be a lot easier. Okay, so scale, piloting, scanners, tests, combat. Alright, here. Trying to find where that was. And it was very right out in the open, and now I'm looking for it, and I am very confused because, alright. An attacker attempts a control and security task, assisted by the ship's weapons and security. So, let me write that down because I know I'm going to forget this again, because I just did weapons plus security. Now, with the difficulty determined by the weapons used. So, energy weapons have a difficulty of 2. Torpedoes have a difficulty of 3. I did not do that in the last one. Now, one of the things I still have not gotten out of this is, if I'm using a ship, does that mean that the ship is actually assisting me? Now, before I was saying no. I guess I'm wondering if I should really be rolling 3 dice for this, because the ship is assisting, just like a player character. If I'm getting assisted by stats, I'm going to say it probably should. So I'm going off of that. Let me grab another die here. Alright, so seeing I'm using gray as a side one. Nope, that doesn't show up very well for you guys. I will use a black one there. Alright. And then there's also hit locations. Now, I was trying to find this in the actual core game book, and I was not finding it. Here I was finding the hit locations. Let's see, here we are. Alright, so we got it. Now, so we're going to start off. This is mine. I have a 17. They have a 5. Now, last time when I started this, and I'm doing it the same way, the lower the number, because that's the way we've been going on this. With Modiphius, it's always a lower number. Like a 1 is a critical success. So in this case, our bird of prey, or a little Klingon ship, attacks us first. There again, I'm going to do 3 dice. I need 2 successes. We are at long range, so it goes long, medium, then close, then we have like a point blank, I believe, and then there's an extra long. Let's see, point blank. Now we're going to start off in long, okay? So that means that any weapons that we use, we're going to want to have a long, or it's going to incur a range difficulty. In other words, we're going to have to roll an extra die for, get another success. Seeing that we are at that range, I'm going to say our Klingon is trying to get up, so that's going to take us from a long, I'm going to put my pen here, to a medium, okay? And when it comes up to me, I'll probably close the gap as well. Now, we're the same scale. We're going to have the same amount of things that we can do. So we can both do 2 actions in 1 round. Okay, and this is where our energy. So I was using the dice for our energy. So really, if you want to, you could attack twice. So this starts making a little bit more sense here. Just trying to work this through in my, like I said, my small thick skull here. Okay, so this is the Klingon attacking me. He needs a 17 or less, because I've been doing this for a little bit. He's got an 8 for his skill, and then it was weapons, which, oh, he's got a weapons of 12, security of 2, so he's got a 14 there, plus an 8, so that takes us up to 22. So anything under 20, 20 is an automatic failure, so anything under 20. So we have, technically we have 4 successes, because we got a 1 is a critical, that'll be 2 successes. He only needed 2, so he's got those. He can bank some of this as an extra, kind of erase this. I'm going to put marks down here for these being extra momentum points, okay? So at this point here, why don't I just keep a rolling tally? I have a 2, so he's got 2 extra. So he can actually do extra damage to me here if he wants to. Now, he's using, for long range, torpedoes. Actually, you needed 3 successes, so it worked out. All right, 5 dice. 2, 3, 4, 5. I grabbed 6. I don't need the 6th one. Now, if I wanted to, I could probably turn around and say, hey, I want to do a little extra damage. And there was a chart on that. Momentum spend. I could do 1 bonus damage for 1 point, and it's a reoccurring. So if I wanted to take that extra success, and because it was only 1, so it takes me down to a nothing here. Okay, I will take that for my torpedo, and that's 6 dice here. I've got 1, 2, 3 hits. Now his torpedo is high yield. Okay, that means that with these successes, these equal 2. So it's actually 5 points of damage. So that comes over to me, and I have shields of 6. So it does not get through my shields. So there again, so it hits me, but it doesn't go through my shields. I'm good. So now I move closer. I'm just going to keep it right there. So now we're going to be at close range. Okay, with us being at close range, I'm now going to be in range for using my phaser cannons, and that's going to do 6 dice of damage. But first, I've got 3 dice to roll. I have, it says control and security. I have, or weapons and security. So let's see, my weapons are a 9, security is a 2, so that's an 11, and then I have control of 10 and a 4, so an 11, 21, 25. So as long as I don't get a 20, I'm good. So I have 3 successes. I get a 3, a 7, and a 17. I only needed 2, so I can bank one of those. Okay, so that gives me a +1. Oops, I want that closer. Or I'll put a die or something. I think I'll take my Lego figure that's been sitting here, so I will put him up here, so that way I know where I am. So if I start getting longer, I know what I have to roll if I have to add an extra success or something. Okay? Now you can bank these because that could give us an extra die to roll. So if I start going farther out and I'm at medium range and I'm trying to attack, you know, I need an extra success so I can roll an extra die to try and succeed or whatever. Okay. At this point, because we're at close range and I think we're just going to kind of keep following each other around and firing, or maybe if you say we just sit here and fire at each other, however you want to think of it, that's perfectly fine with me. Either way. So we're sitting here, we're shooting at each other. I'm going to use this one, so that takes it from a 6 to a 7. So scratch that one out. So we have 6. Here's 7. Now, last time I thought that these were kind of nothing because it says versatile. What this does is that gives me 3 more momentum. So now I have 3 momentum that I can have for like the next round. Okay, but it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of damage here. He has shields of 5. Roll 2. He only has 1, so that's 6. Any damage that goes through, and I was doing this backwards before. So his shields, which was 5, is now a 4. Okay, I was doing it with the resistance. I messed that up completely. So that doesn't help things along, and of course I'm a little on the tired side, so you know, you do what you can do. So okay, so now our Klingon has only got a 4 for shields, so there's a resistance of 2, and we're kind of going from here. Alright, now that turn is done, so now we're on to our next turn, so I didn't have to mess with our energy levels here. Move my dice over. Our Klingon's going to shoot again. We're just kind of sitting here aiming at each other and just shooting, for lack of anything better. Now we got under a 17, so we're good here. We got 3 hits. Now if I wanted to, I could actually knock down my power to maybe like a 3. So that gets me 2 extra dice. So instead of doing 6 damage, I'm now rolling 8 dice. Okay. So now I'm going to roll. Oh boy, and that was a horrible roll for the Klingon. But it does show me this. So I got 1 here, and I got 3 there, and I got the symbol, which then is the vicious. So that's now 2 points of damage. So if you look up the vicious, every time you get one of these, it does 2 points of damage. It's a special attack because of the weapon, because they're using the disruptor cannons. So that's only 3 points, but that doesn't even make it through my shields, let alone hitting to my resistance. So now that just kind of negates each other. So even though he spent the extra points, it doesn't really do anything. Okay? Now when it comes to me, now I'll move my dice over. I'm going to roll my 3 dice here. I got a failure on that one, but these 2 hit. So now I hit the Klingon. So that means that if I wanted to do the same, I could be piggish and I could probably do that right back to him. And I do apologize. I think I'm coming down with a slight cold or something, so I got kind of like a sniffles kind of thing. And I get a really bad roll as well. Now I could also take some of these and I could add that to some of the damage. Because I got 2 more here. So I could take 3 of these dice. And I'm going to re-roll them. So I'm going to do, cross that out and put a 2. So I'm going to re-roll these dice. And I only got 1 extra. So it does give me like a third. Okay. But I've got 1, 3, 5, 6 points. Now, he's got a resistance of 2. So I'm going to roll two dice. And because he rolled very well, it may have hit through the shields, but it didn't go through the resistance. So if I'm reading this correctly, and I will read this again here, shields. Let's see, energy weapon difficulty. If a task successfully inflicts damage, as described by the weapon profile, if a specific system is not targeted, determine which was hit from the table below. Trying to read through this, trying to make sure I'm doing this correctly. Now, if the target is not a weapon's optimal range, we already... Let's see. We have shields here. So I just saw the shields. So trying to make sure I'm saying this correctly here. Shields. A starship has shields rating, and this is reduced when the ship is subjected to damage, and which can be replenished through the actions of the crew with time. But I believe anything that would kind of go through your shields and your resistance, then go through, and that's what we had done before. Because he had only had a 1 and it hit that. So, that being what it is, with this nice roll here, I had 7. 4, 7, it's negated, it's all taken care of. So nothing goes through, he doesn't lose his shields on this one. And then because our rounds are done, now we're back up to 5. Because that's what our power is. We both have a power of 5. So now it resets the round. Okay? So in that regards, if he wants to really go all out and say, you know what, forget it, I'm going to roll. Because Klingons are better than Federation scum. And he says, I've got 2 successes, and I'm going to target whatever. That means that anything that goes through is now going to target, say, whatever. So let's just say he wants to attack and hit my weapons systems. Okay? He's got 3 successes, so he would actually now hit the weapons. By having a called attack, now that means that he needs an extra success. If there was a range attack attached to it or something else, there would be that. Okay? But he's attacking my weapons. And nope, that's a 14 out of 19. And he's going to go all out and take it from a 5 all the way down to a 1. Okay? Which he has every right to do. Next round, he's going to get that power back because we're the same scale, we're doing the same actions. Alright. So, that meant that he had 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is left, so that's an extra 4 damage. So let me roll the 6 first. I know I got to count with my fingers, so all 6 of them. Alright. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is 6 really, because he's got the vicious. That's 6, 7. Another 4. 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay? Now this brings up something else, and I'm going to read this off here because I have to read it. So we have shields of 6. Hold on, 11. Let me write that down before I forget it, because I have only 1. So that means I only negate 7 points. So there's 4 points that go through. Alright? Now that should take down my shields by 4 points. So my shields should now be at a 2. Now I am blessed because I have a second person in there. I don't have stats for that person, so it's just going to be an 8. So if I wanted to try and repair something, I could try. Let me see. Dun, da, da, da. And give me a second, and I'm going to look this. Okay, so we do have a regenerate shields ability here, and in a small ship like this, we'll see how well we can do. Now remember, our base character's only got an 8, so that's it. It's not my main character here, and if that's what I'm doing for the Klingon, that's the same thing I'm doing here. So has a power requirement of 1. I haven't used any power, so that means it takes me down to a 4. Now this requires a control and engineering task with a difficulty of 1. So I have 3 dice. I gotta get an 8 or less. I did get 1. So what that does is that does assist and brings Construction engineering with the difficulty of +1 to the ship shields. If successful, the ship regains 2 points to the shield plus 2 more for each momentum spent. So I have 3 points. I'm down 4. So with his roll plus those 3 points, I can bring my shields all the way back up. And I'm doing that because I have a second person. Okay? And I did get 1 success. So, alright. So that means that I now have that gone. And that means my shields are now fully back up. So this keeps me in the fight a little bit longer against my Klingon opponent. And we'll see how well this goes. Now, I'm not doing that for him because he's only got the 1 person in there. I did it because I had a second person. Okay? So, in that regard, I think if I was 1-to-1, instead of having a single success, I'd need 2 successes. Stuff like that, because now you're multitasking. Okay? And that's how things kind of go. They do talk about that in the rules, so going through the rules and that, I did see that in there. If you're multitasking because your mind is not on the one thing, it's now on a couple, it gets a little cumbersome. Okay, so that was my turn. We start the next round, so we're both going to be at 5 again. Okay. Now, Klingon attacks. And he has 1, 2, 3 successes. I don't think I did it last time, but he should have 1 momentum from that. Okay. Because he needed 2 successes, he got 3, so that should give him 1 momentum. Now, if he's trying to do a big attack on me again, I'm going to put him back down to a 1. I'm going to roll 6 dice here, and we're going to do that same maneuver. Alright, so I got... Looking at this, we have 6, 7. I'm going to re-roll these. Oh my goodness. He whomped me pretty good. Alright. We have 7 so far, plus another 8. So I'm going to take quite a bit of damage here. Alright. So we got 15. Okay. Now I get to roll my 2. So I got 2 points there. So that's 7 points that go through. Now there was a special rule for this. Let's see here, and it did say something about if you have 5 points or more going through, that a system is completely destroyed, I thought. Either way, my shields are down to 0. Let's see here. I'm just trying to find this so that way I can say this correctly. Let's see. NPC starship damage. They're talking about breaches. Now if I can find the right spot here, and this is where you know, some of this gets a little clunky because you're trying to go back and forth. Big reason why I do like having an actual book, because I have this stuff right here. Looking at my player GM screen, which I'm kind of disappointed with, because these are tables I think that should really be on there, and when it said about doing an attack, it really just gave me a definition of an attack or whatever. Like, that doesn't really help me. So I don't know who decided to put a dictionary definition of doing a player attack for something I could really use, like what you're going to use, or where to look for it or whatever. Someone really dropped the ball on that one in my mind. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just, I know I'm a little tired, I'm a little frustrated because I've gone through this once before. I did 45 minutes, got almost nowhere on a fight, and felt like I was almost right where we started. And here I'm spending a little bit more time trying to find an answer on something that, to me, almost seems like it should just be something that sticks out. Alright, well, I have 7 points that go through, so that means that's 0, plus I get 1 breach. Now, when we do look at breaches, because I know I was reading through the breaches, here, each system with Starship can sustain a number of breaches equal to its scale. So I've now hit 1 breach. Okay, let me roll for where this hits. It's my 6. 6 is my engines, so I'm going to move this. Underneath my engines, I'm going to put 1 mark here saying 1 breach, and my engines are now at a 9. Okay, which then, let's see, for breaches, when a system suffers a breach, it disrupts the function temporarily until a character in a relevant role for the system performs the restore minor action. The system cannot be used to perform or assist any task. Communications can't hail. Engines lose 2 power, so that means I'm down to 1 power for my engines. Let's see, weapons cannot fire, or if the structure is hit, roll a 1. If an effect is rolled on a random player character, if an effect is rolled, a random player character suffers an injury. Okay, and then we have for scale. If you have a scale 1, you can have 1 breach. 2 or more, that area is destroyed. Okay, so I'm on the verge of being destroyed here by my Klingon counterpart. I now have my go. Something doesn't seem right because he went. It took me down 2 points. Let's see. Let's see. It said it went down 2 points, right? Repairing damage. It's a control and engineering task. Engines, communications can't heal. Engines lose 2 power. Ball's at 3, but he goes first, so I should be at 3. Okay. Alright, so I'm a little confused here again. I think it's my fault because I don't think I put that back at 5. Because that was on me. Actually, no, I think I'd be at 1 because I did a special thing to repair my shields. That's where it comes from. That's why I'm confused. Okay, let me just go with that. I'm at 1 right now. At this point, I really can't afford to attack because then I'd have no power. Although, on the other hand, if I do attack, I get that power right back anyways. So why don't I try an attack anyhow? Of course, wait a minute. If he doesn't get this repaired, then I'm really messed up. Alright, I'm just going to try and repair. I'm going to have two chances to try and repair things. First one is to try and get my engines repaired. So I will take a daring or control and engineering. So I'm going to do control and engineering, which is a 2 or 12. I get these 2, so I make it. So that means that my engines are now fine. I still had 1 breach though. Okay, so now that means that my next round I will get my engines back. Now my other gentleman, with the other person in here with me, gets 3, and then they were doing what they did before. So I have an 18, an 11, and a 10. Let's see, I believe that was... So I just said that. Alright, well, now I can't think of where that was for the shields. And what I needed. And I think it was out of the book. Alright, so let me look up in the book. It was like 231, I think. Alright, scale, traits. Tactical weakness. Okay, I'm in the right area. It's 2 damage, regenerate shields. Okay, control and engineering. Which would be a control engineering. That's just an 8, and then structure and engineering from the ship. Structure and engineering on the ship. Here, why don't I write this down, because that would make a little bit more sense. Regenerate shields. And I regen shields, which is a control plus engineering and we also have structure plus engineering, diff of 1. Okay. That way you don't have to keep looking it up, because that kind of slows me down. And alright. And seeing that this is a video and I know you guys are just kind of watching, you don't really want to listen to me keep fumbling through here. Alright. So, I have what, control and engineering. or structure and engineering, which is a 10. Can't see that. 10 and a 0. So I got a 10 plus an 8, so that's 18 in all. I got a 2, 3. I only needed 1, 4. So I got a 3 momentum out of that. Okay. Next round, we're both up to 5 again because I repaired the damage. Okay. Now, Klingon is going to attack again. And I have 2 fails and 1 success. So I luck out that he missed. Probably was drinking a little Warnog for celebration and was whooping and hollering because he just really kind of beat up on me. Alright. Now for me, I successfully hit. And in some regards, because I got 3, I should maybe an extra momentum. I'm not worried about it. Okay. I want to do... I'm going to take my momentum down to 1. And I'm going to use 2 extra dice for damage. Now I just got 2 momentum back. So my momentum is now up to 3 again. Alright, so we got 4, 7 damage. He has resistance at 2, so I'm going to roll for his resistance. And he's got 1. So now that should take care of his shields. His shields should now be down. I have what, 7? That's 6. Or not 6. 5. So that should take his shields down 2 points. So now he's only got 2 for shields. Alright. And if I want to, I could try and do... I could have him. So now we're going to be... See, and I attacked him. He's attacked me. We're all good. For one action, I can have him try and redo his shields. So his first action is going to be trying to redo his shield. So we're going to have control and engineering. For him, it's just going to be an 8. And in structure, which he's got a 8. And engineering, which is a 0. So that means he's got a 16 or better. He's got to get 1 success. And he does. He's actually got 3. So that gives him 2 more momentum. So that gives him 3 momentum right there. Okay? Now he's going to attack. Now because he's already done 1 thing, now he's going to have to use or get 3 successes to try and hit me. As of which he does get. He actually gets 4 successes. Because he's got a 1. So that gives him 4. I'm going to use those 3 that he had before for extra damage. Okay? So instead of him having the 6, as of which he rolled really bad, I'm going to roll another 3. And there he is. Okay. So to hit me, he's got 1, 3 points of normal, and then these are the vicious, so that's 7 points in all. Okay. Now I was down to 6. We got everything redone, so I should be back up to, or I was down to 0. I should be back up to 6. So we should be good that way, I believe. Wait a minute. Because I think it did say it only went up like so many points. Shoot, and I didn't have the extra points, so I think I only brought it up 1 point. So I think I was only up 1. because it was just off of his roll. So I only had one. Okay, so I was up one from 6 because I was down to that and I didn't use any extra points. Trying to think this through here. So he's got he had 7. I get to roll 2 for my resistance. I only have 1 for resistance. So I only have 2 points. So that takes care of my 1. So now there's 4 points that go to somewhere else. So I'll roll this, and I roll the 1. That goes to my communications. So now I've taken 1 for communications, and that's my second breach. And it says for breaches, you can only get so many breaches. Now I've had 2 breaches in all. So now that should actually take care of my ship. My ship should now be destroyed. I just had a second breach. So this worked a lot better than the other one because I'm paying attention a little bit more, kind of going off the rules. I lost, even though I had a little bit better skills, and I did have 2 people, and we were trying to repair things along the way. But because I had 2 different breaches, technically I lost. Okay, size 2 ship. That's the same amount of breaches. You can only have a breach or breach count for as many actual size category you're in. Being a size 2, I now have 2 breaches that have gone through. That is all there is for me. The Klingons, the Romulans, because they have that vicious that really comes around and kind of bites me in the rear a little bit more than what I want to. So this time I think we've done things correctly. I don't feel like I've really kind of been worn down as much, but you know, the whole thing is I'm looking at stats and I'm looking at figures, and it's not like you're looking at a ship just disintegrating away. There's no shields. You're going straight through. I've had 2 holes blown through my ship. That's, you know, the first one I managed to get by and I got shields going, but this time it just blew me apart. So okay, so now we've finally gotten an actual ship to ship full combat gone through. The Klingon is not going unscathed either. I mean, he's kind of messed up. He has full power, but his shields are really messed up. He can get those fixed. But seeing that he's like any other fighter pilot, he's sitting there and he might be hitting control panels and everything else. He might be able to get that redone on his own, but he might end up flying back to a base or to some other ship to get assistance and go from there. So that's how we're going to do it. That's where we are at the end of this. Unfortunately, I lost, which is perfectly fine. And this is a simulation. So for my characters, whatever, I still have to finish rolling out my ship and my characters and that. I've been working on it, and I've been tossing back and forth, and I think I've gone through making up 3 or 4 different ships on what I want to do and how I want to do things. We're getting things going here. I've got some mission ideas and some enemies ideas in mind, but we're going to get this going. We're getting this going right now. This is just a holodeck simulation just to see how we're doing. Try to make sure I'm doing this correctly, and that's what it's all about. I know this is the second time through, and it's a little frustrating for me. So I do feel kind of dumb trying to go through this, and I'm failing at it. That's the other reason why I want you to understand what's going on in my head and what's going on here. And if I am doing something wrong, please feel free to let me know. I am not a perfect person. I make lots of mistakes from time to time, and I don't want to think that I'm something I'm not. So we'll end it today. Thank you for visiting me and sitting around a pool table and listening to the crazy things that go off in my head. hopefully this makes sense to you, how we were doing this, so you have a better sense of how to do it when you're playing. And that's what I really want to do, is I want to tell a good, fun story, but I want to try and get these things done correctly, so if you're playing this, you understand how to correctly do this. Even if I fail at times doing it, you get a better sense. So, with that being said, thanks again. Hope you have a happy holiday, seeing that we're coming up to that. Hopefully this loads up tonight, so it's still on the 24th here. Otherwise, it'll be up on the 25th. Just depends on how long it takes, but my upload speeds have been really slow lately, so that's why I've been trying to keep them very short. So, thanks for visiting. I'll see you in the next video.